Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Hi.
Um, welcome to the second of 3 orientation calls for the winter cohort 2021. Super excited to have you here. Super excited to meet all of you and just get to know you a little bit and share with you a little bit about how the project is gonna go. So I'm Andrew. I'm the founder of Collab Lab. Stacey's my co-founder. And yeah, it's I don't know, it's a really fun time when we start to get everybody together. We have people on the call from a bunch of different places. We have people here from Europe and South America and Africa. So it's really fun to kind of just, I don't know, the way that Collab Lab has kind of grown over the last year to be a truly international kind of effort. So so first thing I want to do is just like have us go around and just do some introductions. So just like start to get to know your people. This is your group for the next 2 months. So I'll kind of go first. Like I said, my name is Andrew. My pronouns are he, him, his. So it's important for just kind of like making sure we acknowledge people's identities. I live in Portland, Oregon, so on the west coast of the United States. And one other thing I'm going to have each of you say is, what's your favorite thing about the place where you live? You may not love the place where you live. Not everybody loves where you live, but there must be something that's the top of the list, your favorite thing about it. So my favorite thing about Portland is that there's plenty to do. It's a real city, a proper city, but it's also very manageable. You can kind of get around and, without too much hassle and, find a parking place in front of a restaurant on a Friday night with no problems and stuff, which isn't the case. I used to live in the Bay Area and it was not the case there. So yeah, I will, maybe Stacie, do you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, I'm Stacie, co-founder of Collab Lab. I'm not mentoring directly any teams this cohort, but I'm totally here for you if you need me for anything, just like any other mentor would be. I live in Sacramento, California. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And what was the other thing? I wrote them down in the chat. Oh, what do I love about where I live? What I love about Sacramento, California is that the weather is beautiful all year round. It's always sunny. If it rains, it's for like 30 minutes and then it's dry within like an hour. And it's just beautiful. It's beautiful. It's a sleepy city. So like Andrew was saying, it's like a full-size city with all the city amenities, but it's slow and it's quiet and it's delightful. So that is me. I will pass it over to Alejandro.
Knew it. All right. So, hey all, nice to meet you. I'm Alejandro. I'm from Colombia, and I've been mentored 3 times now. And oh my gosh. Anyways, so let's see. Let's talk about my city. The one thing that I like. I live in Medellin, so I think the weather is really nice. Medellin is called the city of the eternal spring. So yeah, it is nice all the year around, like 20 degrees to 25 or something. And yeah, I really like that. If you come to Medellin, let me know. Now, let's see, on to Chris.
Hey, y'all. My name is Chris Dopich. I'm also in Portland, Oregon, and I use he, him pronouns. Let's see, I'm a coworker of the other Zappians here, so I've got some experience working with Andrew already, which has been a blast, and I'm looking forward to being a mentor here with this cohort. It's my first time. And gosh, there's so many great things about Portland, but I think personally one of my favorite things about it is Washington Park, which I believe is the largest urban forest park in America, which is really fabulous. And I live basically next door to it, so I can kind of walk up in there whenever I want. And there's a really, really nice international rose test garden where you can see just roses in every direction as far as the eye can see. It's really beautiful. And I just got married in that park, so yay.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Let's see, how about to my immediate right, Viet?
Hi, I'm Viet. My pronouns are he, him. I currently live in Tulsa. I've been living there for about a year now. I moved there to go to a software engineering school. And let's see, my favorite thing about Tulsa is definitely this park called the Gathering Place. It's just this family foundation in Tulsa was really, they put a ton of money into this park, and it's just one of the coolest places to hang out there. So yeah. How about Kevin?
Hi everyone, I'm Kevin. I'm from Portland. I use he, him pronouns. I'm in TCL 16. And one of my favorite things about Portland, in addition to what some people have already said, is definitely the nature and the ability to get to so many diverse ecosystems very quickly, from the rugged coast to the mountains to the deserts and massive forests. There's just there's a lot of different landscapes in Oregon in general, and I really enjoy visiting them.
Go next.
Okay. How about Becky?
Hi, I'm Becky. I live in South England, and my pronouns are she, her. My favourite thing about where I live is probably along the same lines, the countryside. We're fairly close to some beautiful beaches, but also not too far from London, so it's great to be able to sort of get up there as well when we can. Yeah, so how about Jessica?
Hi, thanks for passing to me. I'm Jessica. I am part of TCL 16. I'm super excited. I used to work as a registered dietitian, and now I'm transitioning. I completed Flatiron School's boot camp program. So that's kind of how I made myself here, or I found myself here. And currently I'm actually living in my hometown of Syracuse, New York, but my home base and where I intend on moving kind of once pandemic things get a little bit better is New York City. So I'll say my favorite thing about New York City, or one of my favorite things, there's a lot, but one of my favorite would be just how easy it is to get to places, because just like airport wise and trains and buses and things like that, I just feel like it's so easy to get anywhere. And I really enjoy that. So I'm a big fan of weekend trips and things like that. So that has been really fun in the city. And I will pass to Waverly.
Thank you for passing it to me. Hi, everyone. My name is Waverly, but you can also call me Wavy if that helps. Oh, my pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm on TCL 16. I live in New York City. I live in Queens. So I will be more specific and say that what I love the most about Queens is how diverse it is. I think it's actually the most diverse borough out of all the boroughs. So it's kind of fun that I get to eat all types of food, especially during the pandemic. And anything else? I think that was it. Yeah. I will pass it to Brittany.
Hi, thanks, Wavy. So I'm Brittany. I'm in Portland, Oregon. Pronouns are she, her, hers, and just did the Epicodus program, and I'm in the TCL 17 group. So I think a lot of my favorite things about Portland have already been mentioned, how easy it is to get to different, to the rivers and the mountains and all that. So I will add that I also love how many microbreweries are here, because I'm a big beer fan, cider, all that good stuff. And my husband and I like to brew, so we have lots of inspiration. All right, I'll pass it off to Mohammed.
Hi, thanks. Mohammed Salman here. I'm a mentor in TCL 19 group, and I have been living in Finland for like last 13 years. So I would say like my favorite thing about Finland is like Finnish summer. And I will pass it on to Joseph.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
My name is Joseph Mawa. I am from Kampala, Uganda. and my pronouns are he, him, his. And what I like about my country is the organic food. We have plenty of it here. I'll pass it to Downs. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
I think you're saying me. I'm not sure.
I think that's right. Yeah.
I think so. Hi, my name is Dee. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm a part of TCL 17, and I live in Ocala, Florida. Not very many people have heard of it, but it's just basically in the center of Florida. My favorite thing about where I live is, well, the weather is amazing in Florida. Since we don't really get winter, it's nice. And also specifically in the town that I live, it's very quiet. So I like that.
Nice.
And I'll pass it to Skyler. Have you gone? Not sure.
No, I haven't gone. Thank you, Dee. Yeah, my name's Skyler Shaw. My pronouns are he, him, his. Similar to some people here, I work with Zapier, and it's all similar to Chris. It's also my first time mentoring here. I'm going to be mentoring TCL 16. And I just moved back to the United States after 10 years abroad. I was living in London most recently. And so I'm going to veer off and say I don't really live in one place yet, but the thing that I like that I'm most excited about is for Christmas, I got a national parks pass. So I'm very excited to explore the national parks of the US, which I didn't really do before I moved abroad. So I'm going to try to rediscover the US. And most recently I went to Joshua Tree and Southern California, and it was absolutely beautiful. So I'm looking forward to doing more of that. Let's see, who do we have? Devon, have you gone yet? I don't believe so.
I have not. So hello everyone. My name is Devon. I'm a part of TCL 20. I had to look that up actually. And my pronouns are she, her, hers. And I live in Central Maryland, in between Baltimore and DC. So I live in a town, it's a zip code. So I mean, I'll just say the region. But I think my favorite thing about where I live, I'm born and raised in the area, is just the proximity to everything. We have access to 2 major cities, 4 different, we get 4 seasons. It snows here, it gets hot here. I can get to New York in like 3 hours. I live like 15 minutes from an Amtrak station. So, I mean, it's very convenient. So it's a best of both worlds. I know Andrew went to school in the region. So I see him nodding. So it's like, yeah, it's a happy mix, I think. So for a lot of people who aren't excited about New York, they kind of are here because it's a bit of everything. So suburban, urban, all of that, country, rural. So yeah, I don't know who has not gone yet. Oh, Rachel. I see Rachel. So I'll pass out to Rachel.
Thanks, Devon. Hi, I'm Rachel. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm part of TCL 17, and I am in Seattle, Washington on the West Coast as well. Like most of you, I think with the West Coast, one of my favorite things is the access to, especially in Seattle, the sound, which is right off the ocean, and the trees. So for us, you can go from downtown Seattle up to the mountains to go skiing in like 45 minutes, which is really awesome. So a big fan of that. And I will pass it off to Golfo. I don't believe you've gone yet.
Yes, thank you. So I'm Golfo. My pronouns are she, her. I'm mentoring for the first time for TCL 19. I live in a small town in Western Greece, and my favorite thing about where I live is the countryside, especially there's a lagoon here with lots of animals and birds, and I love flamingos. So I'll pass to Chris, I think, or I think Chris was introduce themselves in the beginning.
Yeah, who hasn't gone? Lauren?
Vid.
Oh, he's gone. Yeah, I
I
think
think he has
Lauren.
gone.
Last one, maybe, huh?
I'll pass my calling on to Lauren.
Oh, there
Thank
you go.
you.
Go forward and on, right. Redirect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
301, redirect.
So
Cool. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Lauren. I'm one of the mentors for TCL 17. I think this is my fourth time around mentoring, so I'm so excited to get back to it. Hooray. What can I tell you? I live in Minnesota. My pronouns are she, her, hers. What do I love? So I live just outside of Minneapolis, and I think I said this yesterday too during orientation, but the thing that I really like about Minnesota is that I get to experience all of the seasons. So like today I went out running in the snow and I've got my snowshoes on, and like I went 3 miles, but it feels like you're running 6 miles because it's so hard running in the snow. But I just really love to like have the shortened days during the winter and the really long days in the summer. I really love experiencing those seasons. And let's see, I know someone from Ocala, D, so that's awesome. And Jessica, I used to live in Rochester, so I know your stomping grounds. Awesome, thank you.
Nice, thanks. Whew, did everybody get it? Everybody went, right? Everybody, nobody, yep, but nobody got skipped. Okay, cool, awesome. So good to get to know all of you just a little bit. We're going to spend the next 2 months together, so we'll get to know you a lot better. Yeah, I guess let's get into sort of the meat of the meeting. I will share my screen.
Let's do it.
All right. Okay, so I will make some adjustments to the Zoom UI. 1 second. Bearing with me. Chat open, because if you've never shared your screen from Zoom, it's it all goes haywire as soon as you share your screen. So.
It really, really does. Also, a call out to anybody, if you aren't very familiar with Zoom, there is a chat icon where you can click and it'll open up a chat. So if you have questions throughout orientation, just drop them there, and there's a bunch of us who can be answering them for you.
Yeah, perfect. All right, so what is the Collab Lab? So why are we all here? The Collab Lab, we exist to, I mean, we're a US-based nonprofit, so that's sort of a technicality, but the reason that we're here is to help early career engineers get experience working remotely and collaboratively on a software team, doing kind of real world projects under the guidance of professional web developers and engineering managers. So the idea for that is really that it's really hard to kind of break into tech, to break into web development. And so this kind of experience is something that it's really hard to replicate. You can't really do it on your own when you're studying by yourself and that kind of thing. So anyways, we're trying to give you that experience. You can go into interviews and be more confident. You can just get practice sort of talking about the concepts out loud and that kind of thing. The goal of the project, you're going to be working together with your team to build a smart shopping list. So the way this works is as you make purchases, the app sort of kind of keeps track of like when you made the purchases and starts to learn your habits over time, putting things that you're most likely to need sort of next at the top of the list. So the little algorithm that we provide that helps that kind of facilitates that. But yeah, that's the sort of overarching goal. Every team builds the same app. You all work from the same set of instructions and sort of a project board that we have set up in advance. But it's really interesting to watch because each app really comes out just a little bit different based on sort of the personality and approach of the team. So we have a video here that I won't play right now, but I encourage all of you to watch. That's a demo of the app that was made by TCL 6. So this is just one example, but it kind of can give you a sense of where you're going. So what the finished app looks like, so that as you're working on some little piece of it, you can kind of keep that endpoint in mind. And feel free to interrupt me with questions at any point if you have them. So, so who are you working with? So when developers and mentors join Collab Lab, you're really joining a community. It's I mean, it's well over 100 people at this point that are kind of active in Slack, and you know, we're always sharing resources and doing all these kinds of things. It's really, you can really kind of lean on this community with things like, you know, I'm preparing for an interview, like what should I be looking at? Or I'm trying to solve this technical issue. Has anybody ever done this before? There's so much experience when you know, across the whole group that, yeah, you have a lot of people you can draw on for that. That's great. So every quarter we kick off a new cohort, and so, you know, winter 2021, that's your cohort. We'll have a spring, a summer, and a fall cohort next year as well. And each cohort has multiple teams. So this time we have 2 North America teams. We have a Latin America team, a Europe, Africa team. And we're actually running what we call an advanced project with Devon is one of the people who's coming back from, she did the shopping list app in her previous cohort, and is coming back to do the advanced project, and we'll kind of get into some sort of different things around collaboration with that team. So 5 teams going on at this in winter 2021. So each team is 4 developers who work on the app together, and 3 or sometimes more mentors who will be there working with you throughout the course of it. So yeah. So the reason that we do all this, I mean, you know, knowing how to code, like we're not really teaching coding itself. Like you will probably get better just through the course of doing the work, but you know, it's really about teaching collaboration. So you know, it's working on a team and working with alongside other developers and product owners and people in different roles is really integral to being a professional web developer. So yeah, that's the thing that we're here to kind of help you understand and to get better at. And one of the things that we do to kind of make that happen is that we have you pair program. So you know, the time commitment that we're expecting is really only around 5 hours a week, but we do expect you to spend 2 to 3 of those hours directly pair programming with your sort of assigned partner for the week. So yeah, it's tons of benefits to pair programming. You know, you each bring different sort of backgrounds and knowledge and those kinds of things to to solving the problem. So you'll be able to you know, hopefully kind of solve the problem a little more effectively than you would by yourself. But you also, it's an opportunity to both kind of teach things to the person you're pairing with, as well as learn from them, right? So there's no single right way to pair program, but you know, how it generally should work is you'll get on a video call like this to sort of work through the tasks for the week. And you know, we encourage you just to try things out. Like, you know, everyone's going to have different styles. If you know, some people have done some pair programming in the past. I know Epicodus, that's kind of an emphasis there. Other people, you've never done it, right? And so, but you know, you've certainly collaborated with people on things in the past. So just, you know, do your best. We will actually, a few weeks into the project, we have a presentation that we'll give about pair programming after you've had a couple of weeks to try some things on your own, so you have a little context to go with it. So yeah, I think that's it for the things I was going to talk about. Lauren, am I handing it off to you? Is that right?
Yep, I'm next.
Okay. Do you want to share a screen?
Good night. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I would just like to point out that Andrew said 2021, and like I just felt a surge of joy in my heart. Yeah. Thank you. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to be talking about more of the kind of smaller details. So please ask questions in the chat. And I know Stacey's on there and she'll be able to answer any questions that you might have. So how does it all work? The project that you'll be working on is organized in your team's repository. If you go, so here I am at TCL 17. Here's sort of the main place that you'll land, right, on the code tab. If you go to the projects tab, you'll see you have this backlog project of individual user stories. So throughout the course of the 8 weeks, you'll be working in pairs to complete one of these issues per week. So let me move my people over there. There we go. And open up one of the stories. So each story has a description and has what we call AC, or acceptance criteria, that lists the things that need to be met in order for that story to be complete. So every week, a team will split into 2 pairs, and each pair will be assigned to one of those single stories from the backlog. And so that task or story is done when all of the following are true. So the AC have been met. If it's a UI focused feature, sometimes features are more focused on the Firestore side of things, but if it's a UI focused feature, then it needs to be reviewed for accessibility. The code to complete the task or implement it has been reviewed and approved by the other pair developers. So that's a really big part of Collab Lab, is that we practice code review quite a bit. You'll get really good at code review. That's one of my favorite parts of Collab Lab. So it gets reviewed by the other pair of developers. And then mentors serve as product owners. So we sort of have the final say whether or not an issue is approved. Does it meet the acceptance criteria? Is the code kind of maintainable going forward? So at the end of the 8-week project, all of the stories will be complete. And you have a really pretty amazing app to show off. And what's really great about Collab Lab is each of the teams creates, it's a similar app, but all of the teams have different personality and bring different strategies to it. So it can look completely different from team to team. And it's really fun to see all of the different solutions that people come up with. And one really fun thing is to go through other people's, other teams' repositories just to see how they approached solutions, just to see the different ways that people can solve the exact same problem or exact same issue. So coordination and communication, this is really like the heart and soul of Collab Lab, right? Is how we work as a team across a country, across countries, across the world. How do we collaborate together to build this application? So a couple of strategies that are really useful is to create a draft PR. This is something that's good to do like at the beginning of the week. This is what a draft PR looks like if you've never made a draft pull request. So I encourage you and your partner at the beginning of the week to put up a draft PR, and it doesn't have to have any code in it. It can just be an empty commit, right? Put up this draft PR, and in here you can talk about, you can put in comments the research that you're doing, maybe some of the approaches that you've tried. This is a good way for future you and your partner to kind of go back and see what you did and what things you tried and what did work, what didn't work. And it's great for mentors to be able to easily get up to speed on the approaches that you've tried. Another way to accomplish the same thing. So I encourage the draft PR for sure. And then we also communicate in Slack. Usually the pair has a thread that they kind of organize their research throughout the week. So here's from TCL 10, which I mentored last. So week 4, this particular pair, they organize all of their chats, like this is when we're going to meet during the week, and this is what we've tried, and oh, I think that we should try using this. This is what looks like is what we need to do. Right? It's just a really good place to kind of encapsulate all of that information in one place. And again, it's easy for you to find again, and it's really easy for your mentors to kind of keep track of your progress and be able to jump in and help really quickly and get up to speed. That out of the way. All right, so draft PRs, threads in Slack, organizing your research are all really great. So speaking of Slack, a lot of us are familiar and comfortable using Slack, but if you aren't, no worries. some tips to help you get started. Threads are really like a really valuable tool, a really great way to work in Slack. Threads are great because they do a couple of really great things. They encapsulate, they organize your conversation so that future you is able to find the question and answer in one place. And then they keep notifications to a minimum. So like if Andrew and Stacie and I are chatting about something, we can organize all of our information in one place in this thread, but we don't have to bother anybody else. Right? One of the challenges I think with Slack is that it can lead to notification overload, and it's easy to just kind of get distracted by everything that's happening. But if you contain your information in threads, it makes it a lot more manageable. Yes, and so speaking of notifications, if you do need to get somebody's attention, go ahead and tag them. So if I need to get Stacey's attention, I'll just tag her directly rather than making kind of a generic message that I think that she'll see eventually. But if I tag her right away, it just keeps the communication flowing much more rapidly. Yeah. And then, oh, this is super important, and a fun part about Slack is being able to communicate using GIFs and emoji very, very liberally, right? It can be just writing words, it can be very dry, and sometimes it's hard to communicate the intent and the emotion behind it. So GIFs and emoji really kind of, I don't know, soften the blow. They make communication, they make Slack a lot more fun, in my opinion. So use GIFs and emoji very liberally. Cool. So in terms of the development process, working in Git and GitHub, so right now you're adding yourselves as contributors to your repositories, and that's awesome. And then we're just committing right now right to main. But any of the issues that we're working on throughout the project, you'll want to create a feature branch. And we do follow a naming convention. It's usually the initials of person 1 dash initials of person 2, and then a short description of what the issue is. So for example, this issue is Stacie and Alejandro worked together to connect to Firestore. Stacie and Alejandro. So that's just the naming convention that we follow for our branches. Then we'll do this the first few weeks together on our weekly syncs on Sunday. At the end of the call, we'll work as a group to set up those future branches just so everyone feels really comfortable working with Git and with GitHub. So one person in the pair will create the branch, they'll push it up to GitHub, and then your partner will pull it down, and we'll make sure that that works for everybody before we leave the call, just so everyone feels really comfortable. Once you've done it a few times, it'll become second nature. It won't feel so foreign. Cool. So after you and your partner have code that you think, okay, this is ready, we meet the AC, etc. You'll follow these steps. You'll create a pull request. You will then notify the other team, right? And we have those helpful tags. So for TCL17, for example, you'll say @group TCL17, and that will tag everybody in the group. You'll say, hey, this is ready. We have PR that's ready to review. The opposite team will review your PR, and then you'll incorporate feedback. Once that's approved, then you'll ping your mentors in Slack, right? @group TCL17 mentors. And then we mentors will review the code, check the AC. And once that's approved, then you get to merge your PR into main and check it out on the production site. And all of that happens automatically through the magic of Netlify, which is really pretty fun. Yeah, and that's it.
One thing I want to like super duper mega emphasize there is be noisy in Slack. This is all new for so many of us. And it can be easy to feel sort of like isolated and lost and confused. And I want you to know that we are totally all in this together and here for you. And the only way that we're going to know that you need help or guidance or new information is if you tell us in Slack, and try really hard to stay out of people's DMs, their direct messages, because there's a really good chance that somebody else has the exact same question that you have. So if you have a question and you need help, try and post it in your team channel or in the cohort channel, so we can all be on the same page. And not only that, but Slack is the primary way we're going to build relationships as teams and friends in a community. So you don't just have to post in Slack about the code that you're working on or questions about Firebase. Post anything that you want. We're your team and we're your community. Post pictures of your dogs and your kids and what you ate for breakfast and things that are happening in the world. Share resources with each other. This is like the heartbeat of our community. So be there and be loud, and don't ever feel like you're being too noisy, because if you feel like you're being too loud in Slack, there's a very good chance you are not being loud enough. Okay, that's all.
Cool. Yeah. Especially at the beginning, as we're all like getting to know one another, like that's a challenging time because everyone's really nervous. They don't know anybody. And, you know, for us too, as mentors, we're nervous too. And encouraging yourself to really be noisy in Slack will help get over the nerves and help everyone get to know each other a little bit better. Cool. All right. That's me. Who's next?
I think it's Sky. Sky, are you presenting today?
Yep, I'm going to be taking care of the schedule.
Thanks,
Cool.
Sky.
Sky, do you want to share? Or do you want me to just keep sharing?
You can feel free to keep sharing. What the heck? Why not? I've been having some computer problems. I don't want to tempt fate here. Like Lauren was saying, you know, being loud on Slack, I'm going to just kind of say yes at that again, because for instance, myself and some other people are mentoring for the first time, and we're going to be kind of learning our position in this whole system. And so maybe we're dropping the ball or missing something. And if you are loud about it, we can certainly figure out what's being dropped on the floor and try to help as much as possible. So please help me help you. And I'm going to be learning along the way as well. So looking forward to it. Kind of getting onto the schedule here, we're going to start at kind of the broad, full 8-week deal. So we've got the time commitment, like it was alluded to earlier. We don't want people blowing out the time that they're committing to this, and likewise, we want to set some expectations for kind of, you know, helping your teammates and what's expected in the program. And so it should be about 40 hours over the course of all 8 weeks, and that breaks down to about 5 hours. So as we have here, like 2 to 3 hours of that's going to be actually pair programming with your partner, whoever you have for the week. And then the 1 hour is going to be that Sunday weekly sync that we have. And then, you know, the fluff time, kind of the rest of that is going to be researching solutions, because, you know, like we were talking about Firestore, might not all be familiar. So you'll use some time to learn about that. Code reviewing is going to be a big one. And then just, yeah, organizing your work. So, you know, making sure that your pull requests and your commits are clean to really do your colleagues a favor and have it be legible. So kind of breaking that down, now that we have the 8 weeks down to the 5 hours per week, how does that break down? So we'll have that Sunday, the Sunday sync. And towards the end of that Sunday sync, we're going to be having the planning for the next week. So you're going to be working with your new partner, whoever you're partnered up for with the week. And whether it be Sunday or Monday, you're going to kind of just dive into it, start working, look at your ticket, your story, work out your approach, do the research, and pair program. And have to really emphasize, try to front load this. Just as somebody who, I never went to a boot camp. I'm not somebody who went into education or didn't get a degree in software engineering. I started in customer support and worked my way up. And one of the things that, as an earlier developer, was a big learning for me was I would often, you know, hold kind of the code. I'd be researching, and then I would commit it and push up the PR like Thursday or Friday, and expect my colleagues to be ready to, you know, to take the time to review it and get it merged. And the reality is, you don't want to be you know, emergency pushing on a Thursday or Friday, like late in the game. So the earlier that you can get your work done, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that really helps yourself and it helps your colleagues, because once you hit Thursday, you can have that complete story. You can push your code up, ask for feedback. And particularly here at the Collab Lab, we have that kind of 2-part review cycle where you have your team members review your PRs, and then you have the mentors follow up for feedback. So I don't know if anybody else wants to chime in who has a bit more experience, like Stacie or Andrew, but if they'd agree with that, try to front load things as much as possible.
Oh yeah,
fully agree with that. Fully agree.
Yeah.
You're on point.
Okay,
yeah, it's amazing how fast the week goes. You know, it's by the time and there's you do something and then you have to wait for someone else to, if you give you put your stuff up for a code review, you have to wait for them to do it. By the time you go through these cycles, it can be multiple days. So if you're not getting that PR in until Saturday or something, then you're not going to have time to get through all those steps in order to have your stuff merged by Sunday. So Sky, there was a question in the chat. What is a clean commit?
Clean commit. So I guess I would say, so we break down our code. So within a pull request, PR, you typically you would not just push up if you have numerous chunks of work that complete your story. It's helpful to your colleagues to split that work up into logical commits. So let's say you add a dependency, you have to reach out to Firestore. Maybe one commit, maybe the first commit would be the commit where you're adding that dependency. And then, so when you're looking at the pull request, not only are you looking at all the file changes, but you can click on one individual commit. And you might only have one commit on a pull request if it's a relatively simple thing to do, or you might have 10, 15. That's often excessive, but the idea is that however many commits are needed, each commit has a short message that describes what that commit does. So maybe the first one would be added Firebase dependencies, and then the second one might be added Firebase API wrapper, and then the third one would be added logic for persisting a shopping list item. And so the idea of that kind of, what did we say here? It's the rest of your time will be researching, code reviewing, and organizing your work. What I interpret organizing your work means is ensuring that you don't just push up the code that does the job, but that you push up in commits that is logical, so that you're really doing a favor to your colleagues, and they should be doing the same to you. So when you go read it, it's not a big bowl of spaghetti. It's you can see logically, okay, cool, they added this here, then they added some logic here, and then they did this here, and that's just good developer friendly kind of textual communication. So I don't know if that answered the question. If anybody has anything else to chime in, I'm all ears. And I think Stacie wrote in there. That's a good description of that. Sweet. Yeah, so kind of getting towards the end of the week, on Friday, you'll be responding to each other for the feedback on the PRs, and then ping the mentors for that second stage of feedback. And then on Saturday, hop on, give some feedback to those, respond to your mentor's feedback. Might require some changes to the PR, might not. Maybe just explaining what the decisions you made. It could be a variety of things. And then hopefully the idea is on Friday, Saturday, you merge that change to production, so that on Sunday, when we have our next weekly meeting, you get to show it and hop on and show the code, and we'll talk about that next. We'll hop into the weekly syncs here. So like it says here, every Sunday, the team will gather for a 1-hour Zoom for a weekly sync. And so there's kind of, each one's gonna have 3 different things on it. So the first one that we'll always have is demos and discussion. And so each team will show what they did, just show the feature, how you implemented it. So it'll be a visual view of it, of the live app, and then you'll step through the code a little bit. And that's really useful because you get to understand, trade-offs, decisions made, how it works, maybe get some constructive feedback on it, and learn from each other. So you're going to see that the different teams did things different. You did it slightly different, and so you'll be able to take a peek at that. And like it says here, that's super common. A lot of us work at Zapier, and demos are extremely helpful for not working in isolation, having like learning in a shared setting. The second bit is every other week, we're going to have a learning module. And then the next week we'll have a retrospective. And so the learning modules, we talked about them a little bit before. There's going to be a mentor like myself or somebody else on the team is going to be teaching something that is helpful in not only achieving the goals of the ticket or story that we have for that week, but also being an effective team based developer. And so, Git is going to be, I think, the first one, because that's super important for, learning how to do those commit messages, how to push up your changes. And, some other ones here, we've got code reviewing, pair programming, and communication for developers. And I think we might have some other topics set out for the 8 weeks. The retrospective, which will be in the opposite weeks, we're going to share kind of the appreciations. So it's like a really safe space for feedback. And the way that I've seen it done in companies, it's great. You talk about what worked in that sprint, in that week, what didn't, so you can learn. And the idea is that you're generally very supportive. You have appreciations for each other, and you can have a bit of appreciation, a bit of critique, but it's always a positive, super supportive environment. Yeah, and then again, the last thing is that planning that I referred to before. So that's really kicking off the next week of work. So that's when you'll get paired up and you'll look at your story for the next week and kind of divvy out your work. And it would behoove you to maybe even kick off, if you want to kick off on Sunday, Monday doesn't really matter, but again, kind of preloading your work and figuring that out on Sunday or Monday would help you out a ton. Anybody else have notes on that?
Yeah, that's great. It's really helpful to like actually get the branch set up, and even if you can sort of get that draft PR set up on Sunday, so it's there and ready for you to kind of get to work the next day. So
sweet.
Nice job.
Yes, amazing. Such a perfect walkthrough. Okay, so I'll take it over from here. Let's recap. Wow, that was a lot of information, and you may be hearing some things you've never heard before. Acceptance criteria, user stories, clean commits, spaghetti, if you've been reading the chat, and it probably seems kind of scary, and we probably missed something. Do know that this is imperfect, and we do miss things. So I'm gonna take a little bit of time to recap here, but just know that, again, this is so new for so many of us, and if you have questions, they are all valid, and we're here for you, so please post them in Slack. But let's run through high level, what your time at Collab Lab will look like. Again, this is more of a recap of what Andrew, Sky, and Lauren told us. But during your time here, you're going to gain experience collaborating with a group of developers to build a really amazing app and pair program on it. You're going to spend 8 weeks in this program, and each week will be about 5 hours. In those 5 hours, you will be pair programming, you'll be researching, you'll be doing code reviews, and you'll be having a weekly sync with your team. Your team is going to consist of 4 developers and at least 3 mentors. So you'll be very, very well supported. And during the week, your team of 4 developers will split out into 2 pairs of 2. Each pair will take a single issue. Okay. You'll work on your issues through the week. Monday, Tuesday, you're pair programming. You're really getting the solution to the problem into place. Put up your PR with all of your code so the other pair can take a look and give you feedback. When they approve, your mentors will give you feedback. And when the mentors give feedback and approval, you'll push it up into production where your app lives out on the internet for the whole world to see. And you can demo the amazing feature that you built come Sunday at your weekly sync. If your team has not already sent out a calendar invite for your weekly syncs, do be expecting that soon. The weekly sync will take place at the exact same time every week. And as Skyler demonstrated, it'll be in about the same format. So you'll demo that feature, you will learn together in some way or discuss how to become better as a team. And you'll talk about how the next week is going to look and what projects you'll be working on. And then when the weekly sync is over, the next week starts. And after 8 of those, you'll have an amazing app that you collaborated on and a bunch of new friends. So that's what your time will look like. The very, very next thing that you will want to do, if you haven't already, which I've seen that many of you have, and I'm very impressed with your work, is that in each of your repos, there's a README that talks about how to get your project locally on your machine. You want to bring your project down to your machine, and then you want to add your name to the contributors file. And all of the details on how to do this are in the README in your repo. And the reason that we do this is so that we can make sure that you have everything set up on your end and you're able to push up to GitHub before next Sunday comes so that we can hit the ground running and really just start pair programming together. So take care of adding yourself to that contributors file. Be loud in Slack if you have questions or comments or concerns. And you'll be meeting with your team next Sunday for your first weekly sync, where we'll be talking more about the Git process and really making sure that everybody has everything that they need to be successful in the first week and going forward. So with that, does anybody have any questions? And again, if you don't have any right now, that is okay. We are always here to answer them for you. Questions. Anyone? Everyone.
I know it's a lot of information, and it
so much.
It's kind of like, you know, when you're learning a new board game or something and you're reading all the rules and you're like, I don't know if I really understand this or whatever. But as soon as you start playing it, you're like, oh, okay, it all makes sense. It's going to be the same kind of thing. Like, it might be a little bit like, what are we supposed to do on which day? And like, how are the branches named and all those kinds of things. But, you know, you'll go through it that first week and you'll have it down in no time. I'm sure of it. So, and each week is structured the same. Like, you'll be working on different issues, but, you know, the flow of the week will be, you know, really similar throughout the entire time. So, and yeah, the document, this orientation document is here. It's in your repo, so you can always refer back to it. And one thing I like to tell people is that this isn't school, so you're not, you know, you're not being graded or judged based on your sort of individual performance. It's really, this is a team trying to get something done, right? So, you know, I encourage you to approach it that way. You know, I mean, it's 2 months long, so things can come up. You might get sick or have, you know, like, you know, I mean, have some vacation plan. I mean, there's all kinds of things that can happen that are just real life, right? So as a team, we will work together to like work through all those kinds of things, just like you would in a workplace. So, so may the force be with you. Have fun with it. It's gonna be great. And I guess, yeah, the next thing for you all is, this Sunday is your weekly sync.
This Sunday, yes. Yeah. Oh, the first weekly sync is so much fun because you'll get to like there are many of us here right now, and a lot of us are from different teams, but you get to like be with just your team and really start getting to know each other and just forming like a really solid team. And it's exciting for me, and I love it. Okay, well, with that, if nobody has any questions, and if you do, you can post them in Slack if you don't want to ask them here. I think we can say goodbye for now. Nobody has anything?
No questions? Well, how are you feeling about it? Are you excited? Are you nervous? Yeah, got some thumbs up out there. All right. Cool. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be really fun.
All right.
Cool. Thanks, everybody.
We'll see you all around, okay?
All right.
Bye.
Later, y'all. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.